Ask the right questions. How commonplacing enhances creativity. How does it do that? Well, this is a commonplace binder, normally known as a commonplace book. I'm going to zoom in on it in a little bit. You'll see why. This is the Commonplace Binder 101 playlist. This is going to be 100 videos. So this is video number 63. You'll see here that the 63rd is creativity. I'm going to put this down now. So the reason for that is creativity is part of the title. So I add the keywords, and then I will do something with the keywords. That's this video. That's next video. I'm going to go through this one column at a time. I think I did this for more than 4 columns. But yeah, ask the right questions. Does it matter that I did that more than 4 times? No. So how does commonplacing enhance creativity? I feel like it kind of doesn't, actually. And so what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the video is talking about how I don't think it actually does. Unique art. So if you add your fancy, unique art, or the art from another person, you are going to have a superior commonplace book, right? Well, yeah, maybe, but like, what does that do for you? Like, how does that enhance your creativity? So maybe you look at it and you're like, wow, I feel inspired. And that's very helpful. Performance. Are you going to perform better if you look at the nice things? Well, maybe. It might be, I have nice things, so I should get more nice things for myself. Make it make sense. Okay, so I haven't really said anything that's relevant yet. Why? Why are we doing this? So we're not necessarily trying to create something which is magical or supreme or whatever. We're trying to make something that stops the bad things from happening as often and slightly increases the good things happening. And so what happens with a commonplace book, or in my version, a commonplace binder, is I save the things which will help me perform at a slightly higher level forever, basically. So in this binder, which is a demonstration binder that I just used for this channel, I have stuff related to how to make a video. So in here, it'll tell me, you know, I need to have a shirt, which like looks at least sort of clean. And when I'm setting up a video, I need to have this stand here. This is pretty basic stuff, but having the really basic stuff means I do not make the low-level mistakes, and I can continue with my work. Digital drugs. So some people will say that if you're watching social media or consuming social media, it's like a drug. Whoa! Maybe. And maybe if you're commonplacing, you're not going to be doing as much of that. But I don't know. This I feel like that's at the very least not worded properly, because are the drugs you take going to stop your creativity? I feel like that's kind of the opposite of what people say drugs do, but I'm not someone who does them, so I do not know. A place to read. That's basically what we're creating. We are creating a place to read all of the old things we have read that we found the most interesting out of the things that we read. So that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Basically, we are grabbing quotes, and then we're writing things about the quotes. We can make it a little bit more complicated than that, but yeah, we're kind of just quoting people and then being like, fascinating, exemplary. No, we say a little bit more than that. Normally the stuff gets categorized, and then the stuff that we saved that was our own information after the original information sometimes gets mixed around with a whole bunch of things, and that's where the really good stuff comes from. Sit in the moments. That was a moment. Did you like sitting? I feel like that wasn't great. It was like, why are we pausing? What's going on? And so if you're consuming these so-called digital drugs, it might be you're used to the thing happening over and over really quickly. And it might be that you need things to calm down at least a little bit, and you need things to be slower. But that can be really aggravating. Because it's like, I know I need to do the thing at some point. So how do you sit in the moments if you don't know if you're going to have enough moments? With a habit of writing, of course. You're going to write the things down. And then if we wrote the things down, that means they're done, right? No, we still need to do the things. But it might be if you're trying to enhance your creativity, you're not worried about all this other stuff, and you want to do a little bit better. And so if you get in the habit of writing things down when you have a creative thought, you will write down the creative thought because you have just been writing the things down whenever. Now, it does also mean that you're spending all of your time writing things down, so you're probably going to have to review them later, and it might be that takes a lot of time, and you were supposed to do other stuff with that time, like clean under the bed, do the laundry, take a shower, go to that place you were supposed to go to. So, regular activity. So this doesn't need to be a habit of writing every single thing all the time. It might just be a regular activity that you do before bed or after waking up. So I would recommend one of those if you aren't going to do this at a specific time or place. Just after you wake up, write down some notes, and then maybe before you go to bed, you review the notes from earlier and add some stuff to it. Like, it doesn't have to be super crazy. Music. You can listen to music while doing this. I find listening to English-speaking music, or music that uses English words, is actually very distracting. But sometimes I still need to hear words. And so for that, I'll just listen to a song in another language. So French normally works the best for me. But, that obviously depends on the person. Literature. Am I going to give you these great music recommendations? Am I going to give you great literature recommendations? No. And I don't know if they actually enhance the creativity or if the music is just to drown out the nonsense in the background. And there is no nonsense in the background, which is why I'm not wearing a headset right now, which is great. So in a lot of my videos, there are just people like, hello! And so I normally need music or something else in the background to keep my mind sort of focused because there's just so much happening all the time. With literature, you do get to sit in the moments because it's like I got to sit down and I read a thing and it's going to be slower and I'm going to think about it more. And this is a little hard for me now because I have to trust the author, and it's not super easy to trust random things I read from random people anymore. Probably because I spent a lot of time on the internet, and one of the main things about the internet is seeing a thing from a random source and going, yeah, that might be an ad. Yeah, that might be AI. That might be, a political opinion based on a political opinion they saw from another channel, and they're just trying to attract an audience from that other place. And it can be kind of hard to get through the literature. So will the literature help with the creativity? I'm not sure, but as I was saying earlier, it might be helpful to simply write down some quotes from the books you read, maybe write down a list of the books you've actually read, have a different list of books that were recommended to you, and if you have a recommended list, I would also recommend to add who recommended the things to you. Because it might be that you write down, wow, I had this book recommended to me 15 times, but it's from the same person. So it's not like 15 different people. It's just your one friend is like, I need you to read this one book. And then, there's also the question of, are they recommending it because they liked it or because they think it would actually be fun or good or helpful or whatever? Pandora's box. Are we opening Pandora's box with this? This habit of writing might last your entire life. So, in that way, it is kind of something unpredictable, uncontrollable, and kind of a curse. So you might not want to get into it if you're worried about doing it forever. Transform the world. So this is going to change your life, change the world. No, probably not. Maybe. It might be one small change from one individual is going to make something a lot different. Hopefully for the better, right? If that actually does happen, hopefully that'll be better. But yeah, are you going to transform the world by thinking about how to make things more creative? I mean, I guess thinking about how to transform the world could make you more creative. Like if you're just listening to different things that people say are problems and then being like, well, you're saying that this is a problem and this is a problem and this is a problem. And individually they all seem very difficult, but if they're combined into one individual problem with one solution, it's actually fairly easy to at least negate half of the negative results. I don't know. But you gotta get the ball rolling. So you gotta start the thing in order to do the thing. So if you're looking or waiting or whatever for someone to tell you, do the thing, then yeah, just get that done, I guess. Or at least start it. And sometimes that is just opening the website. Or, you know, grabbing a single sheet of paper and hole punching it. Or sharpening some pencils. Like, it's just, sometimes you gotta take one step in the right direction. Connect the dots. So if you have taken one step in the right direction, in like 8 different ways, maybe you can look between the different things and be like, ooh, okay, this one thing is going to work well if I pair it with this other thing. And so you combine the two, and congrats, now you have a set of 2 things that you can do easily together. That's not really super secret knowledge. The idea machine. Is the idea machine going to have super secret knowledge for you? Why does it have to be a machine? If it's a machine, we can churn out enhanced creativity. Yeah, I guess. But for what? Because, like, I feel like anyone can create a concept. And if they create 10 concepts, that's cool. But, like, how do the things go together? And what do they mean? Like, why are we doing this? Like, why am I making this video? I'm making this video because this is part of the playlist. And so I would like to finish the playlist. But I'm also trying to finish the playlist because once I finish the Commonplace Binder playlist, I can start the Commonplace Diploma project, which is going to be another 100 video playlist. Now, I'll be in 2026, and I'm very excited for that. I'm getting a little agitated that I haven't gotten to it yet. I know it's early 2025 for me right now, while I'm recording this, and it's probably going to be middle or late 2025 when the video comes out. But I really want to get to the project for 2026 because I've been writing about it for a decade in the Commonplace Binder system project, but like I want to get to the project for next year because that is the thing I'm actually aiming for. Because, well, there are a lot of reasons as to why, and I don't want to get into that right now because we have more stuff to go through. But basically, when I was a kid, people would complain about the world because, you know, people are always complaining about the world. And so I thought about what they were saying, and I had some ideas, and eventually I wrote them down. But when I wrote them down, I tried to sort them into categories that were the things that made more sense. And so what I ended up doing is I grabbed all the political opinions into a political category, and then I realized, oh, it doesn't actually all fit in there. And these things are different. And so I realized that most of the Democrat-based problems could be solved with an education system, and most of the Republican-based problems could be solved with a micronation solution. So those are 2 very different things. And it might be that I end up talking about the Vitocracy Project in 2027, which seems crazy to say. 2027? Is that a real year? Kind of doesn't feel like it. So it might be that I talk about the Vitocracy Project coming up, but it's Commonplace Binder for the rest of 2025, and then Commonplace Diploma for 2026. And I'm very excited for it because we've got the idea machine out of the way. Thoughts on paper. Thoughts on paper. What do I think about thoughts on paper? Are they going to enhance creativity? For me, they were a way to enhance creativity at first. But I got to the certain point where I had a whole bunch of creativity and I didn't have anything to do with it. So, it might be you get really good at a thing and then realize, oh crap, I'm in the top 10% for this. Because at a certain point, the competition isn't actually that steep. Like, for example, if you want to make Commonplace Binder videos, it's just us. Like, it's just the two of us. There are like 5 videos from other channels. That's kind of it. I don't know if there are even that many. Like, it's pretty much just people making commonplace book videos and then titling them something different. So I actually use a binder, which is why I make the videos Commonplace Binder. But if someone doesn't, then it'll just be like a one random video for them. Like, it's it's not really a big deal. I don't really know where I was going with that, but we're just going to move on from thoughts on paper to the you no one sees. So are you going to be more creative if you can rediscover yourself from childhood, the person you've forgotten? Well, it might be when you were a child, you were a child. So I hope that's not too offensive to anybody, but like, it might be the child didn't actually really know anything. Or even if the child did know a lot of things, they probably learned the things from their parents and maybe their grandparents or, you know, whoever was babysitting them. So yeah, maybe there's some secret knowledge there. When I can trigger memories that go back to like relatively kindergarten times, I do gain a little bit extra like French and Spanish knowledge and stuff, but there are really limited benefits to being able to remember back that far. Because it's like, I don't really need to remember what a bathtub looked like from a specific house, you know? Like, okay, I remember the bathtub. Why do I remember the bathtub? Because it's attached to another memory from another day. Ridiculous. Yeah, so the you no one sees, maybe the you that no one sees is the little kid who was very excited to get the chance to hang out in the bathtub because it was carpeted and that was really weird and you had never seen that before. You were like, a carpeted bathtub. What is this? So, it'll make you more creative, I guess, but it doesn't seem like it's worth it. An easy solution. So there are many easier solutions than imagining yourself in a bathtub from a very long time ago. So you could just hear the stories from the other people who've decided they need to obsess over when they were 5 years old, and you could just write down their stories. Obviously, if they're cool with that, that's even better. Generally speaking, I don't think we're supposed to write down the things that literally everybody else is telling us. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, it's a lot easier to just have somebody else do the work. Like, we do specialize for a lot of reasons. And one of them is having every single person do every single task is pretty dumb. Like, I am not a good doctor. I would not be a good doctor. Sorry. I just, is that bleeding? No, it is not. Why does that look like that? Whatever. I'll have to figure that out later. Okay. Constant adjustments. So, I have been giving myself a lot of haircuts. That is a bald spot, but I need to do a better job with giving myself haircuts. This is normally just missing. That's just... That's just what my hair looks like, apparently. And... yeah. So if you make constant adjustments with your hair, is that going to enhance your creativity? I don't know. I mean, I have a friend in France who apparently gives themselves crazy haircuts. And by crazy haircuts, I mean they just like shave it all off and then they let it grow out. Maybe that makes them more creative. Maybe they feel the heat of the shower on their head and the pillow feels different and it's a totally different sensory experience every single day. I don't know. How does a commonplacing method of any kind enhance creativity? I think what it does is it just lets you record your best ideas. So if you give yourself a haircut, you write down everything about that. If you take a shower after you give yourself a haircut and you're like, wow, that felt really weird because the water was hitting my head differently, you write that down. And if you write down enough things, you will get to the point where you will realize some of the things don't really matter. And so you'll be able to focus on the things that do matter. Now, this sounds a lot more like journaling, and so maybe afterwards you'll check out a video on commonplace journaling from somebody. But, you know, if you want to see more on this, the next video says actually use your binder. So this is an abbreviated version of the next video's title. And if you want to check that out, that should be in the end screen. So thank you for watching, and bye.